Hello and welcome to another edition of WrestleTalk. I am your host, Joshua Zimmmerman, for another great installment of Wrestling Insight and Insider. My special guest host today is James Kincade, avid wrestling fan, and what would we call you? Not historian, but what would be a good word?
To be honest with you, I don't know because I never really.
Louder if you could get for me, buddy.
Like I said, I don't really have a title per se.
You just know a lot about wrestling, right?
Uh,
Well, how long you been watching?
I've been watching since 98 when Big Time started.
Okay, so maybe this is even a better topic to have with you. Today's topic is wrestler treatment and why I think, and we're going to have a little back and forth with Mr. Kincade here on what the reasons are if the WWE superstars are what makes McMahon his money. Why is he so hesitant to insure them, to give them stability? If you jump off my ring the wrong way, I'm not just going to give you money and cut your contract. I'm going to make sure when you're laying up in the hospital that you're at least taken care of. And when you come back, we can talk about your future, not just outright walk away from you. And that's kind of the vibe I get from Vince. Like, he's had all these years to call them independent contractors and doesn't want to call them anything else. You have the floor.
Well, to be honest with you, yeah, I think it's stupid. I honestly do. At this point, come on. But on the other hand, the only reason I think he does that, don't get me wrong, I'm not a advocate of it, but I think it might have something to do with how much your life expectancy is. And by that I mean, are you going to be able to, are you going to be a viable wrestler for him, or are you just going to fizzle out like a 2 week, oh, you're here, it didn't work out, bye, type of deal.
Yeah, but don't you think he likes that? He likes the fact that if he gets tired of somebody, he can just buy out the remainder of their contract and walk away from them. Whether they're hurt or not, that's the stand he takes on every worker.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of them I can understand, because believe me, there's been many wrestlers I didn't even know were still alive in the back. Don't Funaki says hi. For a while there, I was like, is he even, where the hell is he? Turns out, he only recently, within the last year or so, got released. I'm like, wow, just now?
Yeah, and you haven't had him on for years. Well, this is another thing. Along with wrestler treatment, the rest, like I told you in the financial quarter, folks, Vince kind of put the blame, I don't know if me and you talk about this, Jim. Vince kind of put the blame on productivity on the fact that HBK retired and The Undertaker took a retirement and then came back and renegotiated his contract. But he more or less said, and I quote, based on the retirements of two of our superstars, one we expected and one we didn't, end quote. So, he more or less says, hey, the second quarter wasn't any fun because The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels left the game. Like, he makes sure to use them as fall guys, but you're not going to see them through when they get hurt. Like,
yeah, I see what you're saying, but at the same time,
without John Cena, without any of them, McMahon wouldn't pull any kind of profit because he wouldn't be able to use their names or likenesses if he wasn't paying them to perform. When you work for Walmart, hell, Walmart's the sleaziest place in the world in my opinion. But at least when you work for Walmart, even if you're the janitor, they offer you the option of some type of insurance that if you buy into it, the company will back it. And Vince has made it known that he will back nothing that protects them in that way.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. At the same time, it's weird obvious that they were on. I was surprised that Sean lasted so long because, you know, I mean, he was pretty old. But to outright say that their retirements, which I didn't know about.
No, well, let's be fair. What he said was their retirements as part of the big picture. They were just one of the reasons, but their retirements kind of attributed to losses, and that more or less says we banked everything on our two headliners, but oh shit, we got a shit ton of weight that we still carry show to show. We're not rotating the wrestlers. We only care about today's talent and what's hot. But we're paying all these guys to stay in the back. But oh yeah, if you get hurt, here's the rest of your contract in cash. And nice to know you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now as far as I think it's because not as far as putting all your stake on those two, maybe because not enough people are backing, are getting on the other guys' bandwagons, which is no fault to really anyone, I don't think. I mean, you would think that people would jump on the charismatic, you know, Kofi Kingston, for instance, which I find to be a very hot talent. John Morrison, now granted, great in the ring, not so on the stick. And of course, you know, then you got John Cena.
Yeah, but I think they know that. If you notice, they only give him just enough to push him or to push whatever they're working on. He's not like allowed to pull a Rock or a Triple H where he takes up a half hour of Raw.
Yeah, and that's probably because of the same exact reason I just mentioned. Guys isn't all that great on the stick.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they know that ahead of time, but like, what I find irritating is, I mean, you could take a handful, not just your Kofis, not just your John Morrisons. Like, there's a lot of them that have shown them they can do something, but I think, like, if we're going to bounce back and forth here, you're more or less saying, like, everything's hand-picked and there's no rotation anymore. That's what's hurting them.
Well, then also, like I said, the problem is that in order to get these guys over, the crowd has to, you know, get them over, and I don't know why some of these guys haven't been more over than they are. Don't get me wrong. I mean, maybe they're limited movesets, or maybe they're more over than I realize, because I haven't been, as you know, Josh, I haven't been able to watch it lately, only because, you know, aforementioned cable issues.
Yeah, that's all you gotta say. I mean,
yeah.
But he prefers folks not to be caught up. He's actually one of your true wrestling fans that still wants the element of surprise. Even though he's disappointed, just like me every week, that you can call every Raw as it's going to come on. Oh, so-and-so comes out, so I guess so-and-so is going to be out to retaliate. Like, it's too predictable. It's not even, let alone, like everybody said, like there's some of you YouTubers that say, oh, as soon as they announced it was predetermined, it all went to shit. Oh, when they changed the F to an E, it all went to shit.
Yeah, right there I have an issue.
No, Vince bought his competition and didn't think he had to compete for his money anymore. And now, instead of losing just viewers, he's losing the audience altogether. Like, there's people that don't care about wrestling anymore because there isn't the creative process that there used to be. He's throwing whatever he wants on TV.
Right. Now, if you don't mind, can I talk about that little aforementioned issue, the E and F?
Okay.
Do you mind if I go on a little...
Go for it. We're about 10 minutes in, so we got about another 5 minutes. Go for it.
Alright. Let's start off by anybody who tries to claim that the WF is so much more better than WWE is such a, dare I say it, a complete moron, because they're really the same company. And saying, oh, the WF was real.
See,
WWE is fake.
the E and the F have no difference. He'll continue,
Exactly.
but it's still the same shitty product that it is now, where it was a masterpiece 10 years ago.
Yeah. But at the same time, and I also take exception to the fact that people ran from the WWE because they said it was too PG. Well, let's look at TNA. And their TV-14, yeah, where is their product, Josh?
Currently, the month before last pay-per-view, and I'll never forget this, it got a measly 8,000 buys.
And why is that? Because their product is even more shit.
Because it's not really shit, it's that they're doing everything wrong. They'll go out on an Impact and give you matches that should be in a pay-per-view, but then produce a pay-per-view that doesn't even merit being on cable, let alone exclusive pay-per-view, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're granted. I'm a WWE fan wholeheartedly. I have no problem with going out and finding other stuff, and I'll defend a lot of the WWE programming. Don't get me wrong, but you know, if for those people that say WWE shit, you're an avid TNA fan, you're not getting much better. You're just getting a lot of rehash from WWE, only with maybe a couple new guys. That's really all you're getting. I've watched TNA back when it was Wednesday night pay-per-views, and every time I've watched it since then, the 5-6 times that I've watched Impact, I've watched a combination laugh and cry at the same time. And those aren't tears of joy, mind you. Those are
You got no choice.
Huh?
You got no choice. You can't help but see how bad they went from good to fucking utterly miserable.
Alright, you just want to cry tears of sorrow. Like, why did this happen? They had a great thing going. They were the cheap alternative. They competed.
Well, dude, be fair. That's like us saying we weren't happy with just live events. You're basically saying they were a cheap alternative. Well, they basically, in my opinion, we're going to have the part 2 of this, folks. We got 2 more minutes left. But they went from being a cheap alternative to being on cable, but then the product sorted to slope.
Alright.
You
Well,
know?
what I'm saying is, that's what they said. That was what their goal was. That we want to provide a cheap alternative to everybody, to the big guys.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to do. Now that they got the TV deal, well, now, we got a TV deal. Let's do what they're doing, or whatever went through your mind. I don't even know what you call it, because it was a steep decline.
You can't even put a title on it, brother.
No, you can't. It's sad, really.
Alright, folks. Part 2 is coming up right after this. I usually try and stop it at the 14-minute marker so everybody gets the content. We'll be right back with the second installment. We'll finish up with the treatment of wrestlers and more of Jimmy's assessment on TNA. Stay tuned.
Yeah.